I think what's on everybody's minds if you're in Cleveland right now is the Cavs. We're talking about a team that won 64 regular season games. They had one of the most prolific scoring offenses in NBA history, and they got packed up by a scrappy Pacers team who's making its second straight appearance now in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I've heard everybody blamed from the GM to the coaches to the players to the mental and physical toughness of the team, but regardless of who you blame, we all had higher hopes for this team.
I don't mean to interrupt, but have you heard the blame of whose fault it is that it's our own Noah Olsen?
Oh, this guy. Come on, man. The wound is still fresh, and you're going to talk shit already?
Real quick. All this guy talked about was that ring he's going to get, pointing to that ring finger over and over. Hey, did you guys know I work for the Cavs and I'm going to get a ring? Part of this I lay at Noah's feet. Continue, please.
That's crazy. The wound is still fresh, and you're just let me stab it a couple more times. Let me just be a complete asshole.
I gotta lighten it up a little. I mean,
there's no lightening it up. Brownie the Sad Elf t-shirt is on. That means vibes are low at the office today, man.
Well, the sad t-shirt kind of tells the story, but Noah, get us started this time around. There's a few different ways I want to go with this, but for starters, what's your reaction to the loss into the series against the Pacers?
Yeah, it's more of the same, man. They went back to what they have tried to do in the playoffs, even with a different head coach, and it makes no sense. The team looked soft. Jared Allen was horrible in the final stretch. He had 11 points and 6 rebounds in not one but 2 games. That was statistics for 2 games. He was a non-factor in Game 4 and Game 5. Donovan Mitchell looks like he's the only one that has the mentality that he wants to win a ring right now. I get it. The guys are young still. That's part of what's going on here. Donovan's at the point where he's starting to really hit his stride and really, really hit his prime. People say your prime's like 28 to 31 or whatever in terms of basic NBA math. So I get it. Donovan's the older one, so he's there. These young kids are still just getting to the point of understanding what they are in the NBA, i.e., Evan Mobley being the defensive player of the year. I could go on a tangent. I know we're going to talk about it for a second. All I know is we can have coach of the year. We can have 66 and 18. We can have defensive player of the year. None of it matters this season anymore because they got bounced in the second round by a team that was a 4 seed, a scrappy, a good, a hot 4 seed. But if you're really that team, you got to take care of business, man, and you just did not take care of business. I want to hear what you guys have to say, though.
No, it's a strong take. The only thing I would disagree with is I would throw Max Strus in the category of people who played really hard and did as best they could to get us to the next level. But why don't you weigh in? What are your thoughts?
Well, we shot 38.9% yesterday. We shot 25.7% from 3. Compare that to the 50% and 42.9% respectively that the Pacers shot. You can't win games that way. You say Max Strus did everything he could to get us there, and in some of those games, he was fired, but he went 0 for 6 last night. I don't understand this team in the playoffs. I don't understand the coaching in this round. I mean, there were so many decisions that just leave you scratching your head. For example, Donovan and Garland from 3. 0 for 6 and 4 for 13. 4 for 13, Donovan went from beyond the arc. You had a first half that was working. You were feeding the ball down low to your bigs, and we were winning the game. All of a sudden, we come out and we decide we're going to shoot threes for the rest of the night. That's baffling to me. I don't understand this offense. By the way, number 1 offense in the NBA this year and number 2 in history of the NBA. I don't understand this offense where we come down the floor and we have 4 guys standing around the arc, including Evan Mobley, and we play iso ball. What the hell is that? The offense should be running through Evan Mobley, especially when everyone's cold. I don't understand in particular last night. I know Ty Jerome's been cold, but he hit 2 of his 2 of 3 3-pointers. Why didn't we feature him more, especially when we're down? He seemed to have a hot hand. Let's feed him. None of the decisions were making sense. Literally none of them. Obviously, we can point to the 3-point shooting of Donovan I think he was just cooked. I think he was tired. Or, I'm sorry, not 3-point, but foul shooting is what I meant. I think he was just cooked. Those 3 big foul shots were big misses, definitely. But he's like a 70-some% shooter anyway. He's not a great shooter from the stripe, ironically enough. But going to back what Noah said, the reality is this team is soft. And there's no more point to emphasize because we ran into, first of all, I don't like how we have looked down on the Pacers. They're a very good team. They've now beat us in almost every single game this year. Regardless of injury, whatever, I think they're a good team that plays good team ball. They were killing us with the 3. I've always been a big Miles Turner fan. I think he's excellent for them. They had guys off the bench. I mean, they have it, but at the end of the day, we were too soft to compete. Jared Allen, I don't know. Ship him. I don't know what we do at this point.
We're going to talk a little bit about the. Go ahead, Noah.
I was going to say the same thing you're saying, man. I know we're going to get into that in a second. So I'll keep this out of that. Something else I want to say real quick too, when it comes to this series is I don't think it's fair for any Cleveland fan to be upset with the Indiana Pacers for being cocky on their way out. Tyrese Halliburton waving by. I was in the arena for game 2. He went to the line. Did you know he worked
for the Cavs, Sean?
He went to the line. He went to the line, and the arena erupts in overrated chants. You know what I would do if I got called out overrated and then proceeded to not beat you not once, not twice, but 3 times on your own floor?
Point to the scoreboard?
Right. Well, 3 times on your own floor during the
I didn't know you were going to say at home. I was just like, yeah, they got us.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I would be waving. I would be cocky. All of those fans deserve that moment because of how we acted. Me, myself included. Erik, you shouted me out for saying the ring thing. I was on the show a couple weeks ago saying Tyrese Halliburton, Baby Birkin, glasses, whatever the hell I came up with from Greg Newsom. And it shot us in the foot. It taught us a lesson.
But he didn't beat us. I mean, he did last night, but Halliburton in the rest of the series,
I don't know, man.
It's a team
Siakam was beating us, and Turner was the whole freaking team beat us.
The whole team beat us, but Halliburton was a huge piece of that. I think if you look at one player over the whole course of the series, he led the charge in a few of the other nights. He led the charge coming back when the Cavs were up a few times in the series. Pascal Siakam played some good minutes too. They all played well. Listen, you guys hit most of what I was going to say with all the different pieces about the roster and who played well and not playing hard, lacking mental and physical toughness, the coach not having any idea what the hell to do with the rotation, the people in the game doing the old LeBron stanky leg offense where it's like 4 guys on the edges and 1 guy going ISO at the top of the key after you had some of the best ball movement that I've ever seen in the season. I guess just to add, because I agree with both of you on most of what you said, the other thing that it does for me is take like what seems like the longest regular season in all of North American sports and then make it even more meaningless. NBA, out of all sports, it feels like the regular season doesn't matter. It's a postseason league. Just get me to better than the play-in tournament and anything can happen if you got the talent. Cavs were rarely number 1 seeds when they made those championship runs. Just get me there, get me healthy. To Noah's point, coach of the year, defensive player of the year, one of the best, if not the best offense in NBA history. We got smoked in the second round for the second year in a row. So I don't give a shit if we go 80-2 next year. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Regular season means nothing, and neither does the first round of the playoffs. And it's kind of killed it because it makes it an all or nothing for all of basketball for like 2 weeks. Because no matter how good and dominant the Cavs look next season, if we don't make significant roster changes, the question's going to be, can they make it out of the second round of the playoffs, compete in the Eastern Conference Finals, and make a run at a championship? And it doesn't look like they have what they need as currently assembled. To progress the conversation, because it kind of naturally went there a few times, the question becomes for me, what do we need? Because when you look at this team, I think everybody goes, we could run it back because we got talent. We were banged up. But in the NBA and with most things in life, if you don't have a plan, you're winging it, you're guessing, and you're hoping. And the job of a GM isn't to wing it and guess it and hope. It's to look at the shortcomings of your team and address them. I know we're double aproned. I know it's hard to move assets. I know it's going to be really tough to get another piece in here and to move folks around. But the next piece of the conversation I have with you guys is knowing that this went down the way it did, what do we need to do roster-wise to ensure that we can push forward a little bit farther next season?
Well, back up just a little because I just want to play devil's advocate to what you're saying. And I don't disagree with what you're saying, but in game 2, we lose a game that we should have won. You have Garland out that stretch of games, which I still don't understand. Obviously, Mobley sat as well. Do you not think if we're healthy that we're not advancing? If we're completely healthy?
No.
What
have you seen the last 3 years to make you think we would have?
Even if
100%.
we won game 2, I think the series is just different.
Yeah, if we'd have won all 4 games, we'd be in the next round, but we're not.
Yeah, and if your grandma had 2 wheels instead of legs, she'd be a motorbike. But
right.
I'm just saying, like this team won a lot of games for a reason in the regular season, and I get what you're saying. You're saying the regular season doesn't matter. But we know that they can win games. Is it a matter of a missing piece? I mean, you tell me. No, I know you want to jump in.
Yeah, I'm on John's side of this, where I just don't think the regular season has weight. We could have Donovan Mitchell win the MVP, Kenny Atkinson back-to-back Coach of the Year. We could win the in-season tournament. Evan Mobley could be Defensive Player of the Year, and they're all first-teamers on the starting lineup, at least the core 4. And everybody's still going to be like, well, that's all fine and dandy. Are they going to make it out of the second round? Because they got bounced in 5 last year. They didn't make it to the second round the year before that. The lights were too bright. And then they went out there and looked like the lights were too bright again. To answer the question about what we need and what we can do, that is a very loaded question. And this is kind of where I want to jump in here. So in the 2023 CBA, collective bargaining agreement between players, owners, teams, whatever, there was a new curtain rule, or apron, a new apron rule put up. There's apron 1 and there's apron 2. Apron 1, you get some restrictions. Apron 2, you get a lot of restrictions. In apron 2, and this is all going to make sense in a minute, in apron 2, you can't use a mid-level exception, which is a contract to get decent role players, basically. You can't combine salaries in a trade to take on a bigger salary. So you can't trade player A and B that total $50,000 or $50 million to get a player that's being paid $50 million. And you also do not have the ability to trade a draft pick 7 years or more in the future. Also, you have the ability where your draft pick, if you stay in this apron, gets pushed to the back of the first round, no matter if you get the first pick overall or not. You will be pick 30. All of this to be said, with Evan Mobley winning Defensive Player of the Year, with the contract structured on the books right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be in this apron. So all of this talk about, oh, do we add a Giannis? It was an argument we had in the group chat before, off camera, obviously. None of it matters because they can't afford to do shit for shit anyway. So, yeah, it sucks, but unless something drastic happens and they trade X, Y, and Z to then trade for X, Y, and Z and work some crazy cap magic, we're running it back with this team next year, gentlemen.
Let me ask you this. Does your guys' opinion change? So last year we lost to the Celtics, who obviously go on and win an NBA championship, and they're a hell of a team. This year we lose to the Pacers. Does your idea of the Cavs need another piece, they're not good enough, change at all if the Pacers go on to win the NBA Finals?
For me, no, and I'll tell you why. It's not who they lost to, it's how they lost. If the Cavs had a hard-fought series, scored 125 points every game, the Pacers just outgunned us, so we got edged in a competitive game 7, 133 to 130. You tip your cap to your opponent, you think about how you can play better defense, and you move on. The Cavs at no point in this entire series ever once felt like they even came close to having control. And they were the better team record-wise. We know what they did regular season and the talent that they have, and they are hurling blind threes and missing them at a Herculean rate for 5 games. I mean, it wasn't well-oiled machine, pure Cavs basketball, and Halliburton just got hot, or you couldn't check this Miles Turner or this, that, and the other. The Cavs were not even competitive at any point of this series and any point of the Boston series.
But the question is why? Like they were
missing
good looks, though. It's not like the defense I mean, they're wide open 3-point looks that normally you would expect to be knocked down, and they're just doinking. So I don't get it, because it's not the team that we've seen all year.
It's the mentality. Kenny Atkinson came out and kind of said this in the presser after the game. He said, I don't think that this team has hit that second notch of mentality that you need for the playoffs yet. He said something close to that quote. Don't quote hit me saying that for him verbatim, but he said something to the effect that this team hasn't hit that mentality notch. It goes back to Donovan Mitchell and Max Strus, both players who have playoff experience, the same level, are at the point of their careers where they want a damn ring. Jared Allen's too happy to wave at the crowd during a playoff game, and Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are still too young. That's not a knock on them. You can't knock someone for their personality or for their naivety.
Yeah, I disagree with Mobley. I mean, he put up 24 points last night. He was a spark there. I don't agree with your take on Mobley. The rest of them, sure.
I'm saying in general, I think Mobley had a fine playoff outing. Something that there is to note, Mobley has never taken over 13 shots in a playoff game before.
Nope.
And he is supposed to be a unicorn and a scoring machine and growing into that role. We've seen him do it during the regular season. So, yes, I agree with you. Last night, he was great. In general, though, not taking more than 13 shots when you're supposed to really be at least the number 2 for this team at this point in time. When we started talking playoffs, well before playoffs started, I said, if the Cavs win a ring, Evan Mobley needs to be the Kawhi Leonard of the Spurs when Kawhi beat LeBron before LeBron came back.
I think you're exactly right. It doesn't happen
with 13 shots. Go ahead, John.
I think you're exactly right. You said, Erik, what would give you more faith? What do we need to do? If we can't get another name in here, can't move Jared Allen and or Darius Garland to get somebody like a superstar or somebody who's a little bit more physical, what would make me feel differently about next season? If Evan Mobley's the best player on the team, and I don't know if he's ready to take that step, and I don't know if Mitch is ready to give it to him, but I was also looking like, okay, when's the last time a team with a guard who was their best player made the finals out of the East? And I kept going and going and going and got to Allen Iverson. And I'm like, that was a long time ago. And they didn't win a final. So I said, okay, AI made it. We know he was the truth. If he was 6'6", he might be the GOAT of all time. Another combo for another day. But
that's a fun one, yeah.
Yeah, but then I said, okay, well, when's the last team to win a championship? And call me out if you think I'm wrong, but Isaiah Thomas for the Bad Boy Pistons was the last time a guard was the best player that won a championship. So if you ask me how we can do this as currently constructed in today's NBA, if Evan Mobley is scoring 28, 10, and 6 a night, maybe not the assists, he's a big guy, but if Evan Mobley is definitively our best player, the offense runs through him, and he is playing well going down the stretch, I feel a lot better about our chances than 2 slightly undersized guards that live and die by the 3, who have also consistently showed that they always die by the 3 when the lights are brightest and the playoffs get here.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, again, Donovan went 8 for 25. So even if he's going to be the guy, you can't go 8 for 25. I know he had 35 points, but you can't miss like that down the stretch. And
so this is what I'm not going to tolerate, and I cut you off on
finished,
purpose.
But go on.
I'm not taking Donovan slander here at all, because he did everything and then some to put the team on his back and be in a position. His usage
but when you have shit shot selection, Erik, that hurt us. You can't say it didn't.
No one was shooting anything, E.
then we work the ball down low. It's not just on him, but that was terrible.
You get how usage as a stat works, right?
Yes.
It's when he has the ball in his hand, his team is making him use the ball and be a player and be effective more. His usage rate doubled in this series compared to what his regular season usage rate was. They were not doing anything other than, here, Donovan, bail us out of the problem like they've done in every other playoff run that they've had before and lost in 5, or the lights were too bright, or they got bounced in the play-in. It's the same story.
And it's systemic to the team, but that's exactly what I'm saying. We can't rely on him to bail us out.
That's what you do, though. I think that's exactly what you do. If you say this is our best player, they're supposed to be best when you need them. You can rely on your best player to bail you out. You just can't do nothing while you watch him. I agree with Noah 100%. Donovan Mitchell took a team where everybody was quote unquote. I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. If they were hurt, they were hurt. I'm sure they wanted to be out there, but we had 3 of our best 6 players hurt, and Mitchell put up 48 or 49 points and only made 1 3. This was not a Donovan Mitchell let us down series. This is a everybody else on the roster.
I'm not saying he let us down. I'm saying we can't run our offense through one man that goes 8 for 25. I wasn't putting it on Donovan. I'm putting it on Atkinson because, again, we had no fucking offense coming down the court. Mm-hmm. And that was what was frustrating. When the shot clock's expiring and he has to put up a shit shot, that wasn't me putting it on Donovan. That's putting it on why are 4 guys standing around the arc doing nothing. There's no off-ball movement. There's no off-ball screens. We're not doing shit to get people open. What is that kind of offense?
It isn't one, for lack of a better term. But what are you gonna do at this point? And I'm not defending Kenny Atkinson when I say what are you gonna do, but he was the only guy that was at least putting something. I mean, Darius Garland last night with the season on the line, 11 points. He was 4 for 16, missed 6 threes, had 5 turnovers. You can't put the ball in his hand. Strus, who has been at least something for us, went 0 for 9 in our last game. Dean Wade, 150-some minutes in the playoffs, 15 points total. It's all,
by the way, keep in mind Garland was also the worst at a -18 for us. I mean,
was he?
That's terrible.
It's frustrating because front to back, you saw a completely different team play in the regular season. And I know we're supposed to be talking about what this looks like moving forward, but what it looks like is the same team because they can't do anything. You can manipulate the cap a little bit. You can trade, say, Strus and like a Okoro and then get under the curtain and then try to trade like Allen and Garland for a star, but you're really toying with it just to get back to the second curtain and having no bench at that point. I mean, the rule is the rule for a reason.
It is, and nobody wants these guys. Who in the entire NBA is sitting there thinking, you know what, we're pretty good, but Max Strus and Isaac Okoro are going to put us over the line. You know what I mean? At how much for Strus? Strus's contract is insane, by the way.
Same with Garland, like. Garland's on that max deal. Like, no one's taking that contract.
Okoro is making $11 million right now. I get it. You've seen a lot out of this core that you think can go do things and be successful. But after watching basically the same story, the same dance, where we're going to use injuries or slight injuries as the excuse as to why they lost this series this year.
Well, and even if it is slight injury,
we have a couple viewer comments I want to just throw into the conversation real quick. We have Christine texting into the show. She says, I blame the 3 that were on the bench claiming injuries. The series was over the day that they chose to be on the bench, as well as they should have just kept to the paint play. Evan wasn't hurt, and peace out to Dean Wade. I just wanted to give her shout out real quick. Because
he did grab some boards, but... Yeah.
How much is a board worth when, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It was a diluted rebound sample because, it was a diluted rebound sample size because we missed so many damn shots. I could have gotten 7 rebounds on some of those nights. We shot 38%.
So it does make me question, though, why, like, game 4, we crashed the board so well, and in game 5, we get out rebounded. Like, what's the difference? I don't know, man. This team folded.
Heart
They're
and
soft.
toughness. That's why I feel this. They're soft.
Yeah.
It's the heart and I hate. One of the things players hate most, and one of the things I hate doing most, is sitting here as a overweight 40-year-old talking with my buddies on a podcast, talking about who has heart. But they got bitch slapped and nobody responded. They beat us mentally, they beat us physically, they beat us emotionally, and nobody did anything about it. Donovan Mitchell's getting hammered and he's slamming the floor. Nobody's got his back. Nobody's coming to help him up. Nobody's in his face. They literally injured like 3 of our players in game 2 by just recklessly fouling us. Nobody stood up and took another hard foul on the other end. That's lack of toughness. So say what you will about me for saying it about somebody else in a position I don't know, but like, I know sports. I played hockey. I know what it's like to get hit in the mouth by a team and not respond. That's what it looked like on TV to me.
Yeah. And speaking of, we have Tristan Thompson on the bench. Why was he not brought in just to be an enforcer? I know I've said it before, but when you're getting hammered like that, send him in to get teed up and tossed out of the game. I know that's kind of old school thinking, but yeah, top to bottom, we were soft. The only guy out there was Mitch putting his heart on the line.
Is it old school thinking? Because, I mean, think of those Cavs teams. I don't know. I don't remember exactly my history, but we had a Kendrick Perkins that would come in and throw a punch and get taken out, and that was it. So
that's what I meant by
old.
No, I meant old school, meaning old school when it was just harder. You go in and, you were scrappier.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think we lost the plot at a certain point, and
we did. And I want you guys' opinion on one more thing on this topic. I think part of the reason it hurts so bad and it pisses me off in retrospect, now that I've had, a whole 24 hours or so to sit on it, it feels to me like a missed opportunity. In any other year, you're like, yeah, it sucks we lost to the Pacers, but Boston looked really good, and you can't beat OKC, or there's this or there's that. Boy, that window opened. And shout out to Jason Tatum. I absolutely hate the Celtics as a team, but I never root for guys, especially superstars, to get injuries, especially that severe. So hoping he gets a speedy recovery and he's back. I'd like to kick the Cavs to kick his ass on the court, but I don't want to see a guy like that get hurt. But with the Tatum down, the Knicks already up 3-1 on the Celtics, the Western Conference being kind of up in the air. This also feels like a year where there is no looming Golden State Warriors team or Utah Jazz with Stockton and Malone or Jordan and the Bulls. We had an opportunity to just be the best team and go and win a finals, and we couldn't get past the Pacers in the second round. I think that's part of the reason I'm so pissed, is because what might have been if they did win that game too, Eric, if they could rebound better, if they didn't shoot 46%.
To be fair, though, I do think that we didn't see it in the regular season, obviously, but I think the West has the teams to beat. I think right now where we stand in the playoffs, the West, I'm going to say the West, whatever team emerges is going to win the finals.
It's good. It's a good point, E, but the thing that I say about missed opportunity is even if the West had 15 great teams, you only got to play one of them once in the finals. So we don't have to go through the gauntlet that is the Western Conference playoffs. We could have taken care of our business and just played one team. So you're right.
I see what you're saying, the path.
But it's not like we'd have had to beat 11 teams from the West. We'd have to beat OKC, or we'd have to beat whoever comes up.
If the team I saw playing against the Pacers wouldn't beat the Knicks, though, in a 7-game series, because we'd have the same physicality issues.
Which is crazy because the Knicks in the regular season went 0-10 against top teams.
I know.
Which goes back to John's point of the regular season not mattering. But
it really doesn't. I mean, they were the coldest team coming in. And like I said, credit to the Pacers. They are hot at the right time, and they are a good basketball team. Well-coached basketball team, I might add. But yeah, nobody expected the Knickerbockers to be pushing to the Eastern Conference Finals, and yet here they are.
Here's the thing I kind of want to leave it with. If you want a silver lining, if you want something to make you feel at least half-heartedly warm inside, the average age of the core four is 25.5. And as I said earlier on today's show, the prime of most people's career is 28 to 31. So yeah, maybe this one stings. Maybe they don't have heart. Maybe this made them learn heart, and we can move forward that way. But I'm with you both, and I think I've showed my emotion and put my heart literally on my sleeve when I say this has been absolutely disappointing, man.
That disappointed me more, what you're saying, Noah, because you're
Me
saying
too.
they're not entering their prime for 4 more years. That core 4 is not surviving that long. Like, there's no chance of that.
No, we're not going to lose in the second round 3 more years in a row and keep them intact. I will say that's
Right.
a good statistic by Noah. I think it's slightly skewed because I think Donovan Mitchell is older and Evan Mobley is really young. So even
It's
though it
28
is,
and like 22, yeah.
yeah. So I shouldn't say really old either, but it's stretched out a little bit. But wait, Donovan Mitchell's only 28.
That can't
Yeah,
be
he's
right.
young. I'm looking it up right now. I got you guys.
Oh,
Donovan
my
It
God.
Mitchell
feels like
at
he's been
this
in the league forever.
age 28 years old. His birthday is in September, so he will be 29 in the 25-26 season.
Wow.
No
I
kid-
thought he
doesn't
was
it feel
30.
like he's just been like he was at Utah for a while? That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Last note on the NBA, we beat the Cavs to death. We'll talk more about it as the offseason progresses and we see what they do with roster moves. But anything else from the NBA? My mom was over for dinner last night and she goes, well, hun, I know it's tough, but who you rooting for now? And my answer at the time was for an apocalypse and for nobody to win. I think I've come off of that. But
Yeah, who are
if
you
I had to
rooting for?
pick a team, I'd take OKC right now. Small market team that's fun. I don't want to see the Knicks win a championship at OKC's expense. But what do you guys think?
I would say don't count out the Nuggets yet. Still, I know they're down 3-2, but I think they've proven that playoff experience matters.
Mhm.
They're not as deep as when they had their championship run, which obviously hurts them. But if I had to root for a team, it'd probably be the Timberwolves at this point. If I'm rooting for somebody to win, I don't know that they'd be able to, but they would get it for me for sure.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man, because the only correct answer is Ant-Man and Company because they're fun to watch. Another smaller market team that, has a young rookie, young, fun. I don't want to see the Thunder win it. Screw the Thunder. I don't want to see SGA and what we could have been and our thought process of what this team is go do it and take it out of the harder side of the conference. Nah, give me the Timberwolves. A little bit of an underdog. Give me the Timberwolves.
Who,
I
by
like
the way,
Thunder.
traded Cat after making the Western Conference Finals. Speaking of like what we need to do, they saw an opportunity and changed the team a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Screw OKC is wild. I don't know anybody who has it that hard out for the Thunder. But I get what you guys are saying. I root for the underdog. I like Ant-Man too. I think what we can all agree on is we kind of want the Western Conference champion to win.
Yeah.
Over
Unless
the
it's
Celtics or Knicks or Pacers.
Unless it's Golden State or I guess it depends. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless it's Golden State. Fair point.
Who are you guys taking? Like, I don't know that I can bring myself to root for the Knicks, though. I think I'm still rooting for the Pacers over the Knicks, even after that series.
It's tough. I don't know. I'm split. Any other time I'd be rooting for the Pacers, but they just kicked our asses up and down the court for a week, and I have a hard time rooting for Halliburton.
I agree, but I don't know that Knicks teams and their fans.
I think I would like for the Knicks to play and win and then lose to the Western Conference champ as long as it's not Golden State, if I could draw it up.
No, I would rather it be the Pacers. I have no real ill will towards them at the end of the day. Like you said, they outsmarted, out everything the Cleveland Cavaliers, and
Outlast.
My hatred
it's
for
like
the
Survivor.
Knicks and right. My hatred for the Knicks and my hatred for the fan base and the cockiness and everything that comes out of the armpit of America, New York City.
That would be St. Louis, but go on.
No, that's the crotch of America. The armpit is New York City, baby. No, I would rather the Pacers, but the Celtics did win tonight. the Celtics beat the Knicks without Jason Tatum, so there is still a series to be had there. So don't count out the men in green that I hate even more than the Knicks. So give me the Pacers either way.
I like it.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'm gonna Erik, jump in one more.
I was just gonna say I agree with what you're saying. I don't have much ill will towards the Pacers. Like that physical basketball, I never thought they went really overboard, where it was so egregious. That was just hard basketball, in my opinion. The people that were complaining, like we talked about already, we were too damn soft. So I don't have ill will there. And by the way, something we didn't touch on, I know there was the big blunder, but for the most part, I thought it was a very well refereed series. There
Which
was
one's
nothing. Our series, sorry.
No, that's good.
Like there's nothing that besides that one big call, which I get it, that's a miss, it's a blown call. But besides that, there were no real moments where I go, man, they got that so wrong. I mean, they even ejected what's his name with the Hunter thing. Like they got that right. They got everything right for the most part. So those that are blaming the refs, I think that's ridiculous. But sorry, go on, John.
No, I think you're right. The refs can't. The refs didn't run up a 50-point deficit in a game. The refs didn't shoot 2% from 3-point land. The refs didn't jam Darius Garland's toe or re-injure Garland's heel. There are a lot of things that went on, but I do think that sometimes the Pacers are getting a few calls that we didn't get. We got hit harder. The missed fouls in game 1 and 2 stand out, but on the whole, no, I don't think the referee certainly didn't cost us this series.
Here's the thing, because you're absolutely right. They weren't calling some of the fouls. But when you see that, the way that you adjust is, okay, you play a bit harder defense and a bit rougher, because I think they were calling it evenly. We were just complaining that we weren't getting the calls we normally get. That's what's frustrating. That team should have responded in a way where Allen and Mobley were more physical on the defensive end. Not to take away from Mobley's defense, but anyway,